You had questions, so let's talk leather. Hello, welcome back to Classics with a Quirk, where I talk about contemporary and luxury designer items and brands with a touch of silliness. This is the kind of content you find interesting. Please do like this video and subscribe for more of it. Thank you. Hi everyone, and welcome to my very first leather-based Q&A. As some of you might know, I recently released an informational, educational video about luxury leathers, focusing mainly on Chanel luxury leathers. Now obviously I couldn't go over everything I know about leather in that video because otherwise it would have been a million years long, but I did ask you all, my viewers, if you had any leather specific based questions that you would like me to address in a dedicated Q&A video, and so that's what we're doing today. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to every single question because there were quite a lot of them, and I super appreciate everybody asking what they did because I'd love to share this information, but if I don't get to your question, I am sorry. I'm gonna just try my best. For those of you who follow me on Instagram, and I've mentioned it on YouTube a couple of times as well, I have been having some issues lately, and a lot of them center around my speech and me being able to talk properly. So I don't know how many questions I'm going to be able to get through this video before my ability to speak gives out. But again, I'm going to try my best, so please just bear with me. And if I don't get to your question, I do apologize. Feel free to ask anything else that you have down below or for clarification down below. And if you'd like a follow-up video, I can do that too. I'm going to go in no particular order. I screenshotted what questions I could, but I will have timestamps down below for each question so you can skip back and forth as you'd like to or what you find interesting. So my first question is, I would love to know your thoughts on vachetta leather and also bag storage in humid weather or dry weather, like upstate New York versus Los Angeles. So I don't know exactly what you mean about my thoughts on vachetta leather, but it's a good leather, it's fine. Different brands make different kinds of vachetta leather, like Louis Vuitton vachetta is a little bit different from Dooney & Bourke vachetta, but they both are vachetta leather. Vachetta leather is essentially just an untreated cowhide leather, which means that it hasn't been dyed or treated with a preservation process. So there's nothing on the leather to prevent it from acquiring water spots or staining. But because it hasn't been treated in a process that keeps it from developing wear, it has the ability to develop a beautiful patina. Louis Vuitton is probably most famous for its untreated vachetta leather, where you'll have Louis Vuitton pieces come new with this very pale, almost milky type of vachetta leather, and then it will darken over time to acquire a beautiful honey-colored patina. It can also acquire a lot of dirt and water spots if it's not treated well, or if it's just treated normally and you don't really mind what happens to it. But there's nothing wrong with vachetta leather, and it's still a very durable leather. It's just that if you don't like the look of patinaed vachetta leather or watermarked vachetta leather, then you might want to try treating it with something yourself to prevent that from happening. A lot of people do apple guard. I do not apple guard my items at all. I don't think that it's necessary personally because I do like how vachetta evolves. But if you are particular about your vachetta and prefer it to retain that like pale color, then you might consider treating it. Now in regards to bag storage in terms of humid weather versus dry weather, that would probably be its own video, but really quick, the most important thing in terms of storing bags is that you want the leather to be able to breathe, and you want the leather to be out of the sun, because water and sun are both things that can damage leather irreparably. Water can cause mold, sun can cause fading and discoloration, both of them can lead to rot. So you want just to protect your bags, not letting your bags breathe, and by this I mean keeping them stored in a box. In humid weather, if you have your leathers in a sealed box, and it's just going to essentially collect moisture, which will lead to mold, mildew, and rot. Let your leathers breathe. Try not to have them squished together, touching each other, because that can also cause sticking, especially in humid weathers. And if you are in a humid climate, I would very much advise against patent leather, because that is the most likely to damage, discolor, mold, crack. It can also damage, discolor, mold, crack in dry weather too. Patent leather is probably one of the most unstable leathers when it's just sitting on a shelf, just in general. But I think this would be an entire video, so I'm not going to get into too much detail here. If you would like an entire video about storing bags, especially in terms of like different weathers, just, let me know. Next question, I'd like to hear your thoughts regarding Polene bags, since you said full grain leather is expensive, yet their bags are at a such affordable price point and are made of full grain leather. So I don't have any personal experience with Polene. I don't particularly find myself drawn to any of their designs, so I have never been interested in purchasing one. My friend Train Girl Megan did purchase a Polene bag. It was not sponsored. She purchased it with her own money, and she did a review on her channel, so I'll link that video for you below. And it's a very very good video because it does talk about Polene as somebody who was not gifted the bag and, you know, kind of expected to talk about it in only positive notes. In regards to why Polene or other brands can afford to have full grain leathers at a much more affordable price point is because part of the point of luxury bags like Chanel or Hermes is that you're paying for the name, of course. You're paying for the name, which is part of the huge markup. But also, not all full grain leathers are created equally. You can have two hides from two separate animals, and they can both be full grain leather, and they can both be different quality leathers. Not all full grain leather is created equal. Where it comes from on the hide can change the quality of the leather, whether or not the leather has markings. All these things can affect what type of quality the full grain leather is. It might also have to do with where the leather is sourced. Again, I don't know much about Polene in general because I've just not looked into the brand since I don't have an interest in it. But there are certain companies that source their leather from tanneries that are dedicated towards humane practices. Now, I'm not stating blanket statement that like Chanel has tanneries that are only humane. But for instance, LVMH, which I'm sure you're aware of, is the owner of both Louis Vuitton and Dior, are part of the International Leather Working Group. The Leather Working Group is a international non-profit organization that audits companies like tanneries and manufacturers for environmental friendly leather processes. So all the leathers used by LVMH are audited independently by the Leather Working Group and basically approved for being environmentally safe. There are two main different types of tanning processes that leather can undergo. There's chrome tanning and vegetable tanning. There's several other types, but those are the two main, chrome and vegetable. And vegetable is much more environmentally friendly. Chrome tanning is actively damaging to the environment. So for instance, Polene, I don't know what type of tanning process they use. Chrome tanning is a much cheaper, much more inexpensive tanning process. So it's possible, again, this is not a blanket statement because I don't know, I'm just speculating. It's possible that Polene is more affordably priced because they use a less expensive tanning method. Coach, for instance, uses chrome tanning almost exclusively. In fact, they used to tout the fact that their pieces were chrome tanned. Now, chrome tanning can lead to well-tanned leathers, but it also is just kind of bad for the planet. So, you know, it's a give and a take in terms of what is affordable or what can be considered affordable versus how eco-friendly and sustainable it is. So those are just things that go into price. And to repeat, I don't know about Polene because I haven't really researched it, but that might be a factor to, you know, name, quality of hide, sourcing, and tanning process. Really quick, I also want to say that a lot of the questions were comparing two different brands or two different types of leathers to each other, and that's kind of more than a Q&A video would require. That's sort of a big in-depth video. So somebody asked, you know, the difference between YSL lambskin versus Chanel lambskin. And I've done actually a video comparing pebbled leather between YSL, Coach, and Chanel, which I'll link for you because I think that's a pretty good video. It's one of my first, so it's a little bit rough, but I do my best. But comparing different lambskin leathers or different smooth leathers across brands is something that's a little bit more in-depth than just a base Q&A. So I won't be addressing any of those questions today. I'm sorry. What is the quality of Gucci leather bags? Now, Gucci, like most brands, has a variety of leather in their repertoire. They have, you know, different types of smooth leather, different types of pebbled leather. Their leather comes from different types of animals. Gucci used to be really known for their pigskin, actually, and they lined a lot of items with pigskin, which didn't fare really well because a lot of their items ended up rotting inside of their linings, but that was a vintage problem. Modern Gucci, as far as I know, doesn't really have that issue anymore. One of the nice things about Gucci, and actually every brand under the Kering umbrella, which is the luxury overlord that owns like Gucci, Saint Laurent, Bottega Veneta, Alexander McQueen, is that Kering has made quite a few different stands in regards to luxury materials and sourcing and humane treatment and sustainability. So they're very, very upfront about what their materials are, where their materials are sourced, and the quality of what they contain. So if you actually go to the Kering website, that, you know, is just the main website, not even just Gucci, it'll tell you in specific what all these things are. And that's great. Like, the more transparent a brand is, the more I can trust them, you know, and the more transparent a brand is in regards to what their things are made of and how their animals and their workers are treated, the better they are. Gucci leathers are known to last a very, very long time, with the exception of certain vintage bags that acquire those sticky interiors. And in general, I would say that Gucci has some excellent quality leather. I did have somebody mention that they wanted me to talk more about the layers of 100% leather, so full grain, top grain, genuine, and suede. And I guess I can do that now. I've mentioned it before in previous videos. I didn't want to mention it in every single video about leather because I thought that would get kind of boring. But so 100% leather does have several different layers to it. So full grain or top grain leather is the leather that is closest to the top of the hide. It is the purest form of leather. It is the leather with the hair and fur removed, and then that leather is just tanned, tumbled, dyed, treated, whatever, and that's the best quality leather, the most durable kind of quality leather that you can get. Top grain leather is either full grain leather that is the same as full grain leather, or top grain leather can be treated top grain leather or sanded top grain leather, which means that it is full grain leather that has then been sanded down so every single part of it is the same texture, and then it is usually either sanded to be smooth or it is embossed with a full grain to make sure that all the grains are fairly identical and even. So if you have full grain leather that say has markings on it or scarring, then usually people will take that leather and sand it down so it's sanded top grain and then emboss it so it looks like it's got a grain to it. Saint Laurent pebble leather, for instance, is top grain leather that has been sanded. So it's full grain leather, but it has been sanded down and then embossed. And that does weaken the structure slightly, but it doesn't do nearly as much damage as, say, split leather or genuine leather does. Split leather is basically the bottom part of top grain leather. So when you get a hide can be a centimeter to several centimeters thick. It's very, very thick, and obviously most leather pieces are thinner than that. So the hide is split usually into two pieces. You have the top part of the hide, which is the top grain or full grain leather part, and then you have the bottom part that is the split leather. The split leather portion is much weaker than the top grain leather because it is basically as if you rip something in two, and then you have the part that's been ripped, which is the split leather or genuine leather, and that is always going to be sanded down so it either is one full smooth leather piece or it's embossed. Split grain leather can never have pores like full grain or top grain leather can because there are no pores for it to have. It has had the top layer of it removed. So when you have split leather or genuine leather, you're having much more lower quality leather that is not going to last as long. A lot of shoes, furniture, and lower quality leather accessories are made of split leather. And I believe that most of Coach nowadays is entirely split leather or genuine leather. So if you have a Coach bag that says that it's genuine leather, that's just telling you that it's split leather that's been treated, embossed, or sanded. It's not necessarily a good thing. It's saying it's real leather, but it's not necessarily the best quality of real leather. And I don't mean to continue dunking on Coach. It's a brand that everybody knows, and it's a very popular brand, and it's a brand that I like. I've owned many Coach bags, and I've collected and rehabbed vintage Coach for a long time. So I'm not saying that Coach is a bad brand or that their bags are bad quality. I'm just saying that in the grand scheme of things, in terms of what quality entails, especially when we're comparing leathers across different price points and different brands, Coach today is very different from Coach 10 or 20 years ago. Very, very different. And I felt Coach Rogues from 2022 and my Coach Rogue from 2018, they are different. The leather is different, and that's just kind of a fact. A lot of brands have stepped down their quality and their production, and I mean, I've certainly mentioned Chanel stepping down in quality and production. We've heard many tales about Chanel, we've heard many tales about Louis Vuitton. So again, I don't mean to dunk on Coach, it's just an easy reference. It's just an easy reference point. Okay, so this person's question is an opinion. Do you think Chanel can ever come back from this disastrous move of using cheaper leathers for a lot of their bags? And this is referencing my previous two videos about Chanel quality leathers and the possibility of them using lesser quality leathers in some of their bags, most specifically the Chanel 22. I think that Chanel is not helping the reputation by being silent on this issue, and I don't think that Chanel is helping their brand by being quiet or trying to cover up a lot of the people who are bringing forward their concerns with damaged pieces. So a lot of people who are bringing their damaged Chanel 22s to Chanel, they are being offered refunds, or they're being told that their bag can be repaired. And I don't think that that's right. Personally, I think that if there's an obvious flaw in the making and construction of the bag, you shouldn't be trying to have the client get it repaired. You should be refunding their money so they can get something better that's well made. And all of what I've said about Chanel is speculation, because I haven't had confirmation about what these materials actually are. I haven't cut up a Chanel bag. I haven't cut up a Chanel 22. I haven't observed them under a microscope. I haven't sent pieces to a lab. So I don't know. I'm just speculating based on what I know about leathers and what I was able to share with all of you. I do think that, especially with the social media that's been able to, travel around and people being able to learn more, and I'm sure that my videos have been part of this, to, try to educate people about what their bags might or might not be made of, the quality that a bag might or might not possess. I do think that it's making some people second guess purchases. But I also do think that Chanel is a brand that a lot of people really love, and that a lot of people are going to continue to buy, even if they know that there are issues with it. I'm not saying that those people are right or wrong. I don't think anybody is right or wrong necessarily. That's how people want to spend their money. They're welcome and free to do so, obviously. I don't think it's kind to tell people that they're being stupid for buying a bag. I don't think that's kind. But I do think that my purpose in creating these videos are to give you the ability to make informed decisions. Now, even after you watch a video, you're like, I don't care, I love Chanel, I'm gonna buy a bag, do that. It's your money, spend it how you want to. But if after you watch a video, you're saying, well, I have concerns, I don't think I'm going to put my money towards a Chanel right now, I think that also makes sense. It's a person-to-person basis. In regards to the question, will Chanel ever come back? I don't think that they've gone away, because people are still buying it and there's still demand for it. So I would like Chanel to address the issue. I would like them to be more transparent about what their items are made of. But I don't think that they're currently being seriously inconvenienced by the fact that some people are upset. And that's unfortunate, but kind of just a fact of how luxury works. Connecting to that previous question, will I continue to buy new Chanel leather goods? And if so, what types of items and leathers? And in my opinion, what luxury brand has the best leather quality? Okay, so I'm very mixed about this question. Will I continue to buy Chanel? Because at this right now time, not really. Not necessarily leather goods. There are some tweed pieces that I like, and the thing is that older pieces, like from older seasons, like if I find a 20A bag in boutique or something that I really like, that is different to me than buying a 22 and beyond bag. But I also, just in general, kind of am experiencing a little bit of distaste for how Chanel has been moving forward with general practices, general treating of customers and clients, and just again, the lack of transparency. I don't want to say never, because I don't want to appear like a hypocrite if, in 2 years I buy something or something like that. I do still love preloved. I still love vintage. I think that buying preloved and buying vintage is always an excellent resource to save money, to get sometimes better quality, sometimes to get a item that you no longer can get fresh and new. Obviously, it's eco-friendly and more sustainable, so that's a separate thing. In terms of buying new Chanel, the only thing that I really kind of want from new Chanel right now is I really would like a boy flap card holder, and that's kind of the only thing I can think of that I would actively purchase new right now, and that would be in caviar leather, and I would inspect it first, obviously. But I will say that after looking at my mini reissue, I have a lot of doubts that I don't love that I have. And if Chanel made a statement tomorrow, I don't know if I would change my mind, but I would like to see how things progress in general. And I know that's kind of a wishy-washy answer. I'm sorry, that's just kind of how I feel, which is never say never, but right now the answer is kind of no. And in regards to, in your opinion, which luxury brand has the best leather quality? Oh boy, current luxury brand, like today, if I went today and I went to a store that had Gucci and Saint Laurent and Bottega Veneta and Bulgari and Chanel, like all those things together, best leather quality. I think it depends on what kind of leather we're talking about, like, you know, pebble leather versus smooth leather and different animal hides. But I have to say I am very impressed by Salvatore Ferragamo. Very impressed. I mentioned it a couple times before, but I've actually just recently went to the boutique to try on some Salvatore Ferragamo pieces, and they are a brand that I don't think gets a lot of press, but their leather is beautiful. I tried on a Johnsini tote in the smooth leather, and it was beautiful feeling. It was buttery and soft and smooth, probably very prone to scratches, but the stitches were beautiful. The texture and graining of the bag of the smooth leather was really nice. I really liked that. I don't love their pebble leather as much. I don't love the embossing that Salvatore Ferragamo does for their pebble leather. It's just not as attractive to me. I like their smooth leathers more. I think Bulgari also has some beautiful smooth leather pieces. Delvaux has some beautiful smooth leather pieces. I'd say Gucci too. I mentioned Gucci before, but I think their pieces are very nice. I don't have a lot of experience with Dior, so I can't speak of Dior leathers. I've had a couple of questions about Dior, and I don't have a lot of experience with them. I don't have a Dior boutique in my state, and I have never purchased vintage Dior, so I don't really know. I've never felt Dior leather, so I couldn't tell you about that. In terms of pebble leather, I think that Saint Laurent does have very good pebble leather, but it is very painted, which is fine. It's not necessarily a good or a bad thing. It's just kind of the truth that Saint Laurent pebble leather has a little bit more of a plasticky feel sometimes, and that's because of the paint that's put down on it to color it. What else? I'm trying to like go through all the luxury brands. Moina is another undercover kind of luxury brand that is very luxury, but a lot of people don't talk about. I don't have a lot of experience with Moina, I will be honest, but their pebble leathers look absolutely beautiful, and they're very upfront about what their items are made of. I think that's pretty much what I can think of off the top of my head. If I've missed any brands, feel free to let me know down below. But those are kind of the brands I can think of off the bat. I do want to say that I do like Louis Vuitton's empreinte leather. Their non-metallic, their regular empreinte leather. I think that's beautiful. It's very thick too, and again, it's LVMH, so you know that it's leather workers approved. I do also think that their epi leather is incredibly durable, though I don't have experience with current Louis Vuitton epi leather. I just have some older pieces. I think that's it. I think that's all I can think of right now. If I miss anybody or I miss any brands, I apologize, but that's what I got. Can I talk about different types of Chanel lambskin as well as lambskin across brands? For example, I see a big difference between the lambskin of my Chanel bag from 2006, super soft and supple, and my Chanel lambskin bag from 2017, stiffer, not as supple or buttery. I also have Saint Laurent and Dior lambskin bags that are softer and more buttery than the newer Chanel bag, but not as supple as the 2006 Chanel. Does this indicate a decline in Chanel, or is it just bag by bag variation? Okay, so that's a lot of question. First of all, yes, any bag is going to be different from any other bag because the hides change from animal to animal. You'll have batches of leather that is treated all at one time, and so the hides are chosen at the same time, treated and tanned at the same time, usually dyed at the same time. So the hides from that batch are usually going to have relatively similar feels and relatively similar wear because they've all been chosen and treated at the same time. That's why different batches or different seasons of Chanel lambskin, for instance, is known. Some are more delicate than others, some are more durable than others, some are softer or harder than others. That's because different lambskin from different seasons are chosen and treated differently from season to season. That's the same thing for different brands too. Different brands might be sourcing their hides from different places, different tanneries, different farms. So it does depend a lot on those variables. So it depends on where the hide came from, how it was tanned, what type of tanning process was used, how it was dyed, whether or not it was treated before, after, or during the tanning and dyeing process. So all those things do impact how the leather feels at the end. In terms of older leathers feeling more supple than newer leathers, part of that can also be age. So if you have a bag from 2006 and you've been using it since 2006, that lambskin is going to acquire and develop a supple softness and a patina just because it's been touched and used so often, as opposed to newer lambskin, which is new, it's going to start out stiffer because it hasn't been touched or treated. It hasn't absorbed oils in your fingers. It's kind of the same thing with like vachetta leather. So new Louis Vuitton vachetta leather is, you know, bright and white and pale. And then older vachetta, as it's been absorbing oils, as it's been touched, as it's been handled, as it might have been absorbing water, it darkens into this honey patina that so many people covet. It's kind of the same thing with patina on treated leather or lambskin leather. Over time, it develops that patina, and it can't develop that patina if it's not touched. So if you have a older bag that's never been used, it generally will be stiffer than a bag from the same time period that has been used. And for instance, Chanel and Saint Laurent and Dior, they all are from different brand houses. So Dior is under LVMH, which sources their skins and treats them a certain way. Saint Laurent is under Kering, which does the same thing a certain way. And then Chanel is Chanel, so they do it a certain way. So all of that impacts how the leather feels. I don't know if that was a very helpful answer. I hope it was. If it wasn't, feel free to ask for clarification. Hi everybody, it is editing me from the future. I was going through this video and we're 26 minutes in, something like that, half an hour in, and I have almost an hour of footage left to edit. And I think that if I kept it all in one video, it would be 17,000 years long. So I decided to break it into 2 videos again. I know that I just did that with my previous tag video about 5 bags and then 5 bags. So I'm sorry about that. I have to get better, I guess, at my own timing. But that means that this is going to be part 1 of the leather Q&A. I have a bunch of other questions that I also did answer. So that means that there will be a part 2 coming soon. I just didn't want to make this video so long. I hope that you did enjoy what I was able to cover today. I hope that the topics were interesting and informative, if not entirely comprehensive. If you did like this video, please do give it a like. It super duper helps the algorithm, and subscribe for more content that helps the algorithm even more. And that means if you subscribe, you'll be able to see the next part of this video. And again, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.